Now it is time for the big reveal. Hello my friends! I'm so happy to be back in the studio with you again, and in this video I want to share with you all the drawings I made during the month of October for Inktober. Before I'm going to share with you the drawings, I just want to chat about how I approached the project, and I would like to show you some of the materials that I used. As you will know, there is an official prompt list. I did not use it. I felt it too Eurocentric, and I wanted to just be like a child and just enjoy drawing. I'm working on a very big project at the moment, and I'm going to share with you what that is very, very soon. So keep on watching for a future video of that. But because that project that I'm working on is very concept driven, I didn't want to be Inktober also concept driven. I just wanted to have fun and enjoy drawing and explore the medium as it was. So I wanted to see what I can do with inks and just have a lot of fun with it. I used a lot of India ink. This is a speedball version. I am used to actually a lot of the Winsor & Newton Black India ink, but I have used this for years and years. I just love the coverage of it. But the speedballs version was pretty good as well. Then of course I used brushes with it, and I just used a variety of my watercolor brushes, and I also used dipping pens. I really love this one. No. I really love this tip because it is very fine and you can have a lot of variety with this pen, this dipping pen. And then I also used a lot of technical pens, and I have an array of technical pens, so there's not one specific version that I'm using. I just use what I've got, and they come in different thicknesses, and that also gives you a bit of power in terms of how you want to manipulate the image. And then I also used this water brush in some of my works. So if you don't know how they work, you fill it in with some water and then it gives you a bit of freedom. You can also make a dilution of the ink with some water, and then you can create some gray washes with it, which is very, very nice. And then the paper that I used, I mostly used paper from these two pads, and the difference between the two of them, the one is a hot press and the other one is a cold press paper. What that means in terms of difference is surface texture. So the hot press surface texture is very smooth, whereas the cold press has got a slight texture to it. The cold press absorbs a lot more moisture, so it's very nice when you make washes and that sort of thing. And the cold press is nice when you use specifically just the dipping pen or you use the technical pens. Then you want something with a smoother texture. And then because it was an exploring month, I also used some other papers that I'm going to show you in the package, but those were papers that I had lying around. And before I forget, I also used a basic ballpoint pen in some of the drawings, the ones you had when you were in school. So that is the tools that I used. Alright, it's finally time to show you the drawings. I'm very excited to share them with you. As I said in the beginning of the video, I try to play around as much as possible with ideas and different techniques and to just explore with what the medium can do for me. I drew a pair of ground squirrels in this drawing, and I used a combination of the technical pens for the finer details, and I also played around with wash, and I really wanted to explore the water element and that beautiful washes that you can get if you oversaturate the paper with a lot of water. That's a tongue twister for me. And you would have seen this video. It's a fruit bat, and here I also used a combination of technical pens with some washes. This is a southern right whale, and I used technical pens for this kind of finer detail, watered washes, and then the surrounding ocean water. I really wanted to make that ominous and mysterious, and I dusted it with salt, and it created this very interesting texture. Don't know if you can see that very well. Okay, sorry about that noise. It's the neighbor arriving home. And this is a baby rhino. It's also a combination of technical pens with some light gray wash over it, and I made a small mistake there, but it was a play around project. This is a juvenile batelier, and I played around with a dry brush to create the feathers in this bird. I didn't want it to be sort of feather by feather kind of effect, and I wanted to see how I can create different kind of patterning on the bird's body. You would have seen the time lapse of this video for Inktober, which is an elephant. I used the dipping pens and some washes on it. For green snake, boomslang, I only used the technical pens, and that's where you see a lot of this very fine detail. I really love how you can create a vast tonal range with the technical pens. It's actually quite astounding. And I played around again with creating texture and creating just high contrast. This is Tarantal, or guinea fowl, and is also one of the time-lapse videos that you would have already seen. So you know how this was created, but it's a combination of technical pens and playing around with brushes and to make this bladder, and then this was also painted on, the border was painted on. This is one of the first drawings that I made playing around with a different sort of paper, and this is a very nice colored paper to play around with because you use this as the mid-tone, and then the black I used a paintbrush and ink, and for the white I used gouache, and you'll also see a little bit of white colored paper in here. Oh, and this little cute guy is a Cape otter. I don't remember if I said that, if I mentioned that or not. This little guy is a baby Marshall eagle, and I made it on the same paper as the Cape otter, but I only used the ballpoint pen. And a ballpoint pen is a wonderful medium to play around with because it has the same capability that graphite pencils have in terms of pen pressure, allowing sort of depth of ink, a lot of ink or lesser ink coming through. So I could play a lot with that in this drawing. This is another of the drawings that I made using a different sort of paper. This is from an old book. You can see in the back it's an old storybook, and then I just created a wash of yellow acrylic over it, and I played with the ballpoint pen, and this is a man. This is the same sort of paper that I just used a light blue wash over it, and this is a pin-up of Judy Garland. Her photo reference was the inspiration for this drawing. You also have seen this time-lapse drawing of Anna, and I used a combination of the technical pens, washes, and I also used a brush pen. This is another sketch of a model sitting in the grass, and I played around with the wash effect, so not very detailed drawing in terms of where the dress ends and the grass begins, and then I played around with the fineness of that technical pen. This is a sugar bird sitting on a protea, and I made a contrast between the sugar bird and the protea. The protea is a very fine line and a lot of detail then on the sugar bird itself. And you can see I played around with different kind of mark making methods, but only using a very fine technical pen. The next drawing, I also made a time-lapse drawing of this, and this is a leopard, or a luiperd is the title of the video, and he was drawn only using technical pens, so played around again with pattern. I just love the pattern of the leopard and the pattern or the texture that you get from the tree bark, and I wanted to create a contrast between that and the tree bark. And here I drew cheetahs, and again I'm just fascinated by the patterning on the body, and you can see how it differs from the patterning of the leopard, and they have these very slender bodies and these kind of a lot more a rounded face, but it creates that slender illusion because of the black kind of teardrop path on their face and these very beautiful big eyes. This drawing was made with a technical pen, and it was made from observation. This was actually made during my trip, and this was the view from the house, so view from the veranda, and it looks out onto this beautiful mountain, and I just wanted to capture something of that. And the last drawing was also a sketch, which I used a combination of technical pens. Hello, my Luna. Okay. Okay, so this is the last drawing, and I made it with also from observation during my holiday trip. And it was made with technical pens, and then I used aquarelle colored pencil to just create some colored wash over it. And there, and here my Luna is saying, okay, the video is done. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting my work and liking my videos and all your encouragement. I hope to see you soon. Bye!
Smile to tempt a lover, Mona Lisa? Or is this your way to hide a broken heart? Many dreams have been brought to your doorstep.